In a distant age when thousands of intelligent species traveled between stars, the Galactic Council ruled over the known universe. The council chamber floated in orbit around a massive blue star. Delegates from hundreds of worlds gathered there to debate, judge, and decide the fate of civilizations. The chamber itself was enormous, built for giants, creatures of stone, beings made of gas, and towering predators whose shadows stretched across the polished floor. On one quiet cycle, a very small figure walked through the massive doors. The guards barely noticed him at first. He was human. His name was Adam. Compared to the other species, he looked fragile. He had no claws, no armored skin, no massive muscles. Just 2 arms, 2 legs, and calm eyes that studied the room carefully. The Council had called this meeting to evaluate humanity for membership in the galactic community. Many species were curious. Many others were already amused. A tall reptilian delegate named Rokon leaned forward from his towering seat and stared down at the tiny human standing alone in the center circle. Rokon spoke with a deep, rumbling voice. "So this is the famous human race," soft laughter echoed across the chamber. Another delegate, a floating creature named Vela, drifted in slow circles while observing Adam. "This species barely reaches the knee of most council members. Are we certain they traveled across interstellar space on their own?" Yes. More laughter filled the chamber. Adam stood still. He did not interrupt. He did not show anger. The council leader, an ancient being named Tor, raised one heavy arm for silence. "Human representative, you may present your species." Adam looked around at the giant figures watching him. He took one slow breath. Then he began. "Humans come from a small world orbiting a yellow star. Our planet is dangerous. Storms destroy cities. Oceans swallow ships. Earthquakes tear the ground apart." Some delegates exchanged curious looks. Adam continued. "Predators hunted our ancestors for thousands of years. Cold winters froze entire regions. Diseases wiped out millions." The reptilian delegate Rokon laughed loudly. "And yet your species survived. Remarkable." Adam nodded calmly. "Yes," the chamber grew quieter. "We survive because we adapt. When the world is cold, we build fire. When predators hunt us, we learn their habits. When storms destroy our homes, we rebuild stronger." The floating delegate Villa tilted slowly. "Many species claim resilience." Adam nodded again. "That is true." He paused for a moment before speaking again. "But humans have something rare." Rokon leaned forward again with visible boredom. "And what is that?" Adam answered simply. "We refuse to quit." A few delegates chuckled again. The words sounded unimpressive compared to the terrifying powers possessed by many alien civilizations. Tor, the council leader, turned to the chamber. "Very well. Humanity appears technologically capable but physically insignificant." Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Then something unexpected happened. A massive door on the far side of the chamber opened slowly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Many council members suddenly turned silent. Even the arrogant reptilian delegate stopped speaking. Heavy footsteps echoed across the chamber floor. Into the light walked a creature known across the galaxy as the Apex. His name was Rao. The species of Rao ruled no empire and attended no council regularly. They rarely spoke with other civilizations. They were solitary hunters from a brutal world where survival required strength beyond imagination. Most species avoided them. Every step of Rao carried the quiet confidence of a predator that feared nothing. He stood nearly 4 meters tall. Dark scales covered his body. Long claws rested at the ends of powerful arms. His eyes glowed with a golden light. The entire chamber went silent. Even Tor seemed surprised. "Rao of the Apex world. This council session does not involve your species." Rao did not answer immediately. His glowing eyes moved slowly across the chamber. They passed over the massive reptilian delegate. They passed over the floating creature. Then they stopped. On Adam, the small human looked back calmly. The chamber waited. Rao stepped forward. Each step echoed like distant thunder. When he reached the center circle, he stopped directly in front of Adam. The size difference was enormous. Adam barely reached the predator's chest. Some delegates whispered nervously. No one understood why the apex hunter had come. Ral lowered his head slightly. He studied the human carefully. Then something impossible happened. Ral spoke one quiet word. Brother. The chamber exploded with shock. Many delegates shouted in confusion. Roken slammed his claw on the table. Impossible. Humans are weak primitives. Why would the apex call them kin? Tor raised his arms again, trying to restore order. But even he looked stunned. Ral slowly turned his massive head toward the council. They are not weak. The chamber quieted again. Ral continued speaking. My species has observed humans for many generations.
Adam watched silently.
Ral gestured toward the human. Long ago, we discovered their world. Images appeared in the air above the chamber as Ral activated a projection device. The images showed ancient Earth, savanna plains under burning sun, early humans walking in small groups. Behind them followed enormous predators, creatures with fangs longer than knives. The council watched closely. Ral spoke again. Your species sees a fragile creature. The image changed. A human group built fires at night while predators watched from darkness. But we saw hunters. Another image appeared. Humans chased massive animals across open land for hours. They ran without stopping. They tracked prey through heat and dust. We saw endurance. Another image appeared. Humans worked together to bring down animals many times their size. We saw cooperation. Another image appeared. Humans stood together against predators using tools and fire. We saw courage. The chamber remained silent. Ral turned his gaze back toward Adam. My species respects only one thing. His golden eyes glowed brighter. Those who survive impossible worlds. Another image appeared. Modern Earth. Cities rising above oceans. Humans exploring deep seas. Humans building rockets. Humans standing on the surface of their moon. We watched as they conquered their own world. More images followed. Human ships leaving the solar system. Human explorers mapping distant stars. Human colonies forming on hostile planets. We watched them enter the galaxy. Ral faced the council again. You laughed. No one spoke. Ral pointed one claw toward Adam. But we recognized them. Rokan growled with irritation. Recognition means nothing. They are small. Ral's voice became colder. Size does not matter to hunters. He stepped closer to the reptilian delegate. The difference in power between them became very clear. Endurance matters. Ral looked back at Adam. Humans run farther than any predator on their world. His voice carried through the chamber. They face disaster again and again. Still, they rebuild. Still, they adapt. Still, they survive. The floating delegate Vela asked carefully, You compare them to your own species? Ral nodded once. Yes. Another quiet wave of whispers moved across the chamber. Adam had not moved the entire time. Ral spoke again. Many species evolved in safe oceans or stable forests. He gestured toward the council. But humans evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. The chamber lights reflected in his golden eyes. That is why they are our brothers. Tor, the council leader, finally spoke. You believe humanity belongs among the strongest civilizations, Ral answered without hesitation. They already are. Roken shook his massive head. They possess no natural weapons. Adam finally spoke again. His voice was calm. We build them. A few quiet laughs returned. But Ral did not laugh. He turned slowly toward Adam. Human Adam. Yes. Tell the council about your war history. The chamber grew very quiet. Adam paused. Then he spoke carefully. Humans prefer peace. Rokan snorted loudly. Adam continued. But when threatened, humans defend each other.
House.
The projection changed again. Images of human fleets appeared. Warships built with heavy armor. Strategic formations moving through space. Human wars are brutal, but short, Adam explained. We learn quickly, Ral spoke again. And that is why the Apex respect them. The council leaders studied Adam carefully. Tor finally addressed the chamber. It appears the human species has earned unexpected support. He looked toward Ral, from one of the most feared predators in the galaxy. Ral stepped back beside Adam. His massive form stood like a living fortress. No species who survived Earth should be underestimated. The chamber remained silent for several long seconds. Finally, Tor raised his arm. The council will vote. Lights appeared across the chamber as each delegate prepared to choose. Roken hesitated. Vela drifted slowly in thought. Many species reconsidered what they had seen. The vote completed. Tor looked at the final results. Then he spoke clearly. Humanity is accepted into the Galactic Council. A low wave of murmurs spread across the room. Adam nodded politely. Ral placed one clawed hand briefly on the human's shoulder. Welcome, brother. The small human stood beside the towering apex predator. For the first time since entering the chamber, a faint smile appeared on Adam's face. The galaxy had laughed at humanity. But the greatest hunter in the stars had already seen the truth. And from that moment forward, no species in the council would ever look at humans the same way again.